Hello there, stowaways. Before I can grant you passage to this fine, metaphorical vessel which holds the ancient secrets as to why Nico Robin is the most powerful, and in many ways the most interesting Straw Hat, you must first prove your valor by answering me two questions. Question number one. Who on earth invented extra pulp orange juice? It's disgusting, it's horrible, it's just pointless. But what isn't pointless, or disgusting, really, is question number dos, which is, what is the first rule of writing? While you think of that, I should inform you that if you do get the answer to question number 2 wrong, then via the pirate code, you are obligated to like and subscribe to the Grand Line Review. But don't worry, this isn't some curse, because once subscribed, just like Blackbeard eating some fine cherry pie, you will be filled up by the delicious goodness of all the One Piece content you could ever need injected directly into your feed. Alright, now that I've given all of you more than enough time to write down your response, the correct answer to question number 2 is show, don't tell, which is a mantra we've all heard, and I'm sure at least 27% of you got correct, because it is this art of storytelling that One Piece has absolutely mastered most of the time. Because let's be honest, our favourite chaotic Captain Luffy isn't exactly the greatest example of this. He does literally yell precisely what he wants at you half the time.
My name's Luffy, and I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Yes, we know Luffy. However, the fan favourite Shanks, the aforementioned Blackbeard, and not so coincidentally, the focal point of this video, Nico Robin, are all excellent examples of how showing a character through their action is so much more powerful than simply telling the audience what you want them to see. As you see, when you tell something in a story, it just flatly exists, sitting there as an objective piece of information. But when that piece of information is shown to us, it becomes tangible, it has weight, it has power. This is because when a character or trait is displayed through action, to us that becomes subjective, interpretable, in a sense personal. They become a part of you, an entity that will be carried through your life, like little nutritious nuggets that satisfy our thematic mind, I guess like pulp in orange juice, except, the pulp that actually gives you nutrition doesn't try and subtly trick you on its way down your throat. Yes, a great analogy. Now I should mention that I am a relatively new One Piece consumer, and as such this whole thing is more of an outsider's perspective after my first introduction to this vibrant, wonderful world. But for me, when Robin is introduced to us as Miss All Sunday, an antagonist who's vice president of Baroque Works, she is immediately an alluring figure. And not just because she's a 6'2" goddess with proportions that make me question female anatomy a little bit, but because every single one of her actions creates intrigue in the story. If you listen to her making fun of the Straw Hats when she's first introduced, she seems sinister, like a classic villain toying with our heroes. But her actions say something completely different. Even though she displays the ability to outmatch the Straw Hats because she's more powerful, she elects to not harm any of them. She let Vivi find out the true identity of Mr. Zero, which undermines Baroque Works' operations. She offers to give them a more direct route to Alabasta and skip the dangerous island of Little Garden. Then, Robin, out of the blue, saves Luffy from death when he was defeated by Crocodile in their first encounter. And it is only after we finally watch her deceive Crocodile and lie about what is written on the ancient poneglyph that they are both after that we get a true glimpse of Robin. We see that despite her power and her cold and calculating exterior, what she is after is knowledge, not destruction. Which, it actually is in all seriousness, really good storytelling, because our introduction to Robin mirrors how the world itself sees her. We get introduced to her as a villain, we see her as that moniker of Devil Child and think she's after destruction, and then slowly learn that that is not the true Nico Robin. But, boobs, what does this writing style have to do with Nico Robin being the most powerful Straw Hat? Well, obviously I'm getting there, and one hint, I like a little bit of wordplay. But as a disclaimer to my power scalers, I'm not saying Nico Robin could beat Luffy or Zoro in a good mano-a-mano fight, especially considering that Luffy's Devil Fruit power is pretty much hard counters hers. Although, if she does have armament Takai after training with the Revolutionary Army, it could make a pretty interesting fight against Zoro. But no, there are other types of power than just the physical. And to understand why Robin is so emotionally and mentally powerful, we must make our resident archaeologist proud and take one more trip down memory lane to explore how her history has formed the character we know and love today. Growing up, Nico Robin had an immensely difficult and isolating life. At the age of 2, her mother went in search of the long-lost archaeological relics known as poneglyphs, leaving Robin with her physically and emotionally abusive aunt and uncle. Her treatment actually got so bad that every morning she was forced— oh god, I don't want to say it. No, I have to. She was forced to consume extra pulp orange juice for every breakfast she had. I'm sorry, Robin. I'm sorry. Although even more impactfully, probably if you ask Robin, was when at a young age she consumed the Hana Hana no Mi, a form of paramecia devil fruit that allowed her to flower extra body parts on any surface she wanted around her, resulting in other children thinking she was some kind of monster or demon and further ostracizing her. During this time, the only place Robin could find solace was in the Tree of Knowledge, which was an incredibly comprehensive library located on her home island of Ohara. It was here where a young Nico Robin was able to make her only true childhood friends, in the scholars who resided at the Tree of Knowledge and the books that she could read there. Yeah, Robin's backstory truly is sad enough that it makes my tiefling warlock seem like they had a happy childhood. And I'm not even done yet. Due to the endless study this isolation brought her, and thanks to her incredible natural talents, Nico Robin was able to ace the archaeological exam and be inducted as a fully fledged scholar at the incredible age of 8, the youngest to ever do so. After this feat, Robin voiced to one Professor Clover that she wished to follow in her mum's footsteps and look for the poneglyph so she could discover the true history of the world. Little did she know the true dangers of this venture though. So, in an attempt to save the 8-year-old, Professor Clover threatened to ban her from the library if she carried on with this research, which resulted in Robin running off, and consequently finding and befriending the ex-marine and giant Jaguar D. Saul. However, at the same time this was happening, still employed Marines were making their way to Ohara on orders by the world government to eliminate the archaeologists and destroy the Tree of Knowledge, so that no one could discover the secrets of the void century that was written on the poneglyphs, a goal of which the Marines achieved by having all of the academics burn along with the Tree of Knowledge. All but Robin, the lone demon child who was saved via the sacrifice of her new friend Jaguar D. Saul, the man who taught her how to laugh. After her escape, Robin would, in a way, live up to the other Oharan children's view of her, as she was branded by the world government as the Devil Child. And, still only at 8 years old, Nico Robin was given a bounty of 79 million berries, had an entire smear campaign against her, and was forced to live her life on the run where she would forever be hunted and betrayed thanks to her bounty. Now, what secrets are carved into the history of Robin? For me, it holds the 2 reasons as to why Nico Robin is the most powerful Straw Hat. The first, the most obvious and superficial way, is knowledge. We all know the old cliche that knowledge is power, and in Robin's case, it kinda stands up. Robin's knowledge of the lost language makes her one of the only people in the world that can allow the new Pirate King to be crowned. Now the king will be Monkey D. Luffy, but the power of crowning resides with Robin. Then, in a far more present sense, Robin literally, solely, can find or knows the whereabouts of various weapons of mass destruction, which, once again, I need to reiterate. In a one-on-one fight, Robin is not the strongest character, but as Admiral Okoji said all the way back in the Foxy Pirate arc,
"One among you I consider the most dangerous. That would be you, Nico Robin. The size of her bounty isn't merely a reflection of her strength and power. It also represents something else. That would be the level of threat and danger that she poses to the world government. That's why a 79 million berry bounty was placed on her head at the tender young age of 8.
Which, if Robin is 6'2", look at this lanky ass dude. What is he, like 9 feet? Jesus, he actually is. Anyway, basketball recruiting aside, when we talk about overall ability to threaten world order, Robin is the most dangerous individual. She has the most power that can be wielded thanks to her knowledge of these ancient relics, and the fact that she is strong enough with her devil fruit abilities to get them. I could make another orange juice analogy between the wanted posters and how you can't always trust what's advertised, but to curve it to my American audience, think of Luffy and Zoro as the jocks at school, right? They're physically bigger and stronger, but then Robin is that weird quiet kid who comes in with a semi-automatic. Physically not stronger, but she's probably more of an issue. Sorry, was that too real? It might have been. But for the end of this video, do you know what? We're getting real. as the second and real way that Robin is the most powerful character in the Straw Hats is thanks to something she acquired in her isolation, the power of silence. So we must remember that One Piece is a story, and for me, as a character in this story, Robin is emotionally the most powerful Straw Hat. Obviously this is, subjective, but to me, one of the greatest things about One Piece is its long-form storytelling. There is literal years, decades, over which the development of characters and the meaning of their actions are slowly discovered. And as these plots hang there in silence, often unrecognized, like the ever-evolving meaning of Luffy's Straw Hat being passed down from Roger to Shanks to Luffy, with the understanding that the One Piece could not be fully utilized at the time it was found by Roger, as these stories evolve in silence in a vacuum of the world happening around them, they become more and more powerful. Nico Robin is the personification of this storytelling. Everything she is shown, and as such she represents the strength of silence. She starts as a mysterious antagonist who, rather counterproductively to her perceived goals, saves Luffy. When she first becomes a member of the Straw Hats, the only one to do so by her own volition, do you know what she does for the next 10 episodes? Nothing. She has some small and kind conversations with Chopper, but she doesn't try to endear herself to the crew, she isn't helpful to those around her. As a storm threatens their boat, she sits there and reads. As the others go ashore to explore, she sits there and reads. When Luffy, Zoro and Usopp get eaten, she doesn't get upset or fired up. She just plainly says with a rather macabre manner, they've been eaten. Even when she gets taken by the Foxy Pirate, she just kind of chills and has fun with it. Then, to carry on, when they get to Skypiea or drop down to the naval fortress of Navarone, she doesn't even call people by their name. She just refers to Nami as the navigator, Zoro as the swordsman. Usopp just gets called Longnose, which is a bit harsh, but shows again she doesn't have that real care or connection. She forced her way into being a member of this crew and yet has done nothing to be one of them. Nico Robin, for 3, maybe 4 arcs, becomes an enigma to us and to the crew themselves. Honestly, this has to be one of my favourite scenes in all of One Piece.
Robin!
Robin, my love!
See you later.
She seems to be getting along with them pretty well.
It figures. I never trusted that woman to begin with.
What are you talking about? Robin trusts us to get her back, that's all, I think.
Because look at it, the pure doubt on everyone's face over whether she cares or not is just gold. And obviously, in retrospect, we understand Robin wanting to distance herself, her inbuilt mistrust due to everyone turning on her thanks to her bounty since she was 8. But then, the reason why Robin's famous declaration at Annie's lobby is so powerful.
生きる。
お前はこの世に生きてちゃいけねえんだ、ロビン。貴様の存在そのものが大罪なんだ、ロビン。
望んではいけないことだと思ってた。もし本当に少しだけ望みを言っていいのなら、私は生きたい。私も一緒に海へ連れてって。
Isn't just because of the sadness of her backstory, but it's because we saw the manifestation of this backstory develop over months in silence through her traits. Honestly, to get real for a second, I never get emotional. I've never cried during a movie, during a show. That Enies Lobby arc with Robin, legitimately the first time I've ever teared up due to media. It was crazy how much it got me. But everyone does respond differently. It was subjective, as I said. Some people see this silence as bad storytelling, as though Nico Robin has been pushed to the side and underutilized, which is a common complaint of Robin after the time skip. But Robin's isolation isn't simple laziness, she isn't absent, she's silent while the chaos of her crew happens around her. And the effect it has is that every time she is on screen, every time Robin takes an action you notice it, it becomes powerful and meaningful. I guess what I'm trying to get at with this final rant is that one thing One Piece and Nico Robin has taught me is that sometimes in stories and in life, to get to the meaningful points, to have powerful moments, what we need is silence and space in between. Too often in modern life, ironically especially with things like YouTube videos and TikToks, we get caught up in the need to fill any gap with stimulation, Unfortunately though, this means that often what we are watching becomes hollow, as unlike the best aspects of One Piece, it doesn't have enough space to build meaning. It becomes part of this endless chaotic cycle of content for the sake of satisfaction and not purpose. Then the more we lean into this meaningless filler, the more it might satisfy our brain, but the less it satisfies our mind, until eventually we lose the ability to just sit with ourselves, like Robin, to just be ourselves. Mwahaha, I was the extra pulp orange juice the whole time, drawing you in with the delicious goodness of One Piece, only so I could shove down this pseudo-philosophical hippie point at the very end. But yeah, look, seriously, as simple as the point is, it has credence, do you know what I mean? This is why, and I know this will completely destroy my algorithm, but you know what, whatever. The last minute of this video is complete silence. I challenge you to sit in silence for 1 minute. Most people literally can't do it, and I'm going to guess like 2% of viewers will, which is why I'm sure the majority of people that got to this point are angry the audacity of this prick YouTuber has trying to turn a video about One Piece and orange juice into some pseudo self-help bullcrap based on the very basic idea that we spend too much time online. And if that's you, then maybe you just spend that minute to try and think why the mere suggestion of spending some time in silence is so viscerally terrible for you. So if it helps, pretend you're Robin on the Going Merry. As the non-stop chaos of content swirls around you, just take a minute to sit in your chair and be yourself. And I promise, the next thing you watch, which will be the Grand Line Review, will be that much more powerful for it.